What made Godzilla Minus One so good? I had just watched this, I don't know, maybe a few days ago. I had heard a lot about the movie. I think it won an award or awards or whatever. But I watched it, and yes, it's just a fun monster flick. But at the same time, I think what made it so good was there's a weird sense of realism, like the way that the Godzilla moves, the sort of terror of him because he's awkward and lumbering, the simplicity of the scenes where he's following a ship with his eyes above the water, the sort of mercilessness of the destruction of Godzilla in a city where nobody seems safe. And at the same time, I think the star of the movie, yes, is the Godzilla scenes, but the sort of human story behind it. Memory serves, the original Godzilla, or at least some of the original Godzillas, were sort of like an allegory on nuclear power and the destruction of nuclear power after the Second World War. This film definitely had nuclear power as one of the themes, nuclear bombs in particular. The sort of heat ray of Godzilla looks like a mushroom cloud explosion. But there's another theme, which is sort of this, I don't know, patriotism, jingoism, this idea of unthinking patriotism to the sacrifice of lives for no reason, and having to deal with cowardness and honor and friendship and family. And some of the biggest highlights for me were those aspects. And one thing the movie did so well was that there was a little girl involved, raised by two characters in the film. And they, instead of kind of ignoring her or like trying to be like this perfect actor, she just acted like a little girl would. As a father, I can confirm that. And something about those scenes were just so moving because you didn't think about it as a movie. You just thought about her and what it would be like if she lost her parents and how they should come together and love each other and get over their own problems for her sake, and some of the private battles that the male protagonist was fighting, he needs to overcome for her sake and also for the woman in the story's sake. Anyways, I was one of those movies where I think what made it really compelling to me was the human interest story and the, yes, realism, but of course it's not real realism because you have a giant Godzilla monster who stands in the ocean somehow. But at the level of just the way the presentation is, it's there's nothing hidden. It's not all computer graphics in the corner somewhere at the corner of your eye. There's this intensity and oddness to Godzilla and realism in terms of the destructive force that he might have if this were a real world, tied to the sort of realism of real human relationships. And while I'm not an expert on these movies, I would guess from what I've seen anyways, the main themes are, yes, nuclear power. Yes, Japan being at the lowest of the low. It's not just zero, but it's -1. And having to deal with patriotism, honor, family, friendship, love, life, death. The idea of what it actually means to work through the war afterwards and how you can live today.